Hey everybody, Alex Rashi here, coming at you with my first ever equipment review. I just received my brand new Bardiche from Alexander Koge at Canadian Buhurt shop, and I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about it because I think it is fucking awesome. It's made out of 4mm thick heat-treated chrome vanadium. It's stylized, as you can see, with some nice little work along the edge of the blade, in addition to the Craftsman personal insignia. The hardware altogether weighs 1.4 kilograms. Sorry about the snow there. The shaft weighs about 2.2 kilograms for a total of 3.6 kilograms, which evens out to about 7.5, 8 pounds total, which is a bit heavy. It's a 6 foot long halberd though, so you're expecting a little bit of heft to it. It's something that I'm going to be using primarily for 10s and 12s and like for fun 5s. I wouldn't use a weapon this long personally in 5s, as I'm more comfortable with like shorter two-handed axes, and it's just my personal comfort zone. I'm sure there are many fighters who would opt to use a longer stick in those types of melees. The piece arrived in excellent condition. I had ordered it 2 Fridays ago. I received it last Friday. It arrived oiled with very good finishing, no hammer marks or welds visible. There's no scratches or dings on it, any of like the superficial stuff that you may see on the blade, the scuffing as a result of me like playing around with it and just getting my general feel over the past couple days. The shaft is really nicely sanded, really nicely finished. It tapers from about this point. It starts to taper down until you get to a more dramatic taper right at the end, where it creates a very nice handhold. The shaft is carved into a bit of an oval shape, so it's nice that it's indexed because it doesn't roll in the hand. Although I prefer an octagon shape, I find that is just, or a hexagon shape, either or, depending on what your die is. And I find that just a bit easier to hold, as it just creates a better handhold for me. For me in particular, the shaft is a bit too thick for my hands. I would have preferred if he had perhaps gotten in touch with me and asked me what ideal thickness I would like, as that's something in particular that I know, so that when I'm swinging I could be most comfortable. In general, it's a very nice piece. Stylization looks cool as a stat, so definitely it's satisfying on the aesthetic level. In terms of performance, it handles really well. It's not as poppy as a two-handed axe or other smaller two-handed implements, but certainly it has a lot of drive. The parabolic arc to the swing is large, so I can add a lot more momentum and a lot more of my body weight into it. I've been working on a technique that I see popularized by Eastern European fighters like Ilyas Vyushtin or Andrei Agnev, where they begin with the halberd already in position and then step out in order to create space for your hips to twist, drive down, and then use your arms to lever. And that's as opposed to how many of us in North America will swing, where we use kind of a wood cutting motion and try to bring our hands together. That doesn't really work with a weapon that's as long as this, because when you get to the point where your hands are too close together, you have issues returning to your firing position. So I can see why, now that I've been practicing with a weapon like this, that they use this kind of a technique, which I find to be really not bad once you start getting used to it. At first I was a bit of a naysayer because I don't like the idea of working like this without moving your hands, but now that I've been playing around with it, I can really see that there are a lot of practical advantages to that kind of a style. Final closing thoughts. Really, in general, a cool weapon, very nice design, very cool build. Alexander Koge is fantastic to work with. He's very communicative. I suggest to Canadian fighters to buy from him, because buying local and buying domestic is always a good thing. Support local craftsmen. We have very few here in Canada, so we all have to order from across the world in order to get heat-treated materials. So I think this portends well for the future. I haven't seen any of his one-handed implements yet, although I've seen great reviews online. I would very much like to get my hands on some in order to be able to play around and give him my thoughts. I would also like to see what he can do armor-wise. I'm not sure if any armor has been produced yet, though that's something I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on in the future. Yeah, so if I had to rate it, I would rate it 8.5 on 10. The only thing that I'm really going to complain about is the shaft. Like the hardware itself is fantastic. I can transplant it easily onto another stick, although I'm definitely going to need something at least this, I'm going to need something with the same relative thickness. So perhaps like adding more of a significant taper along this portion, or I mean, it could also just be something that I get used to. That's just where I'm at right now with it. I have very little experience with this particular type of halberd design. I'm more used to using leaf halberds or something that's like more axe oriented. So it's a new experience for me. I'm very, very excited. I'm going to be posting training videos and stuff with it as I learn to play around with it, And once quarantine finishes and we can get actually into the gym here in Quebec, I'm definitely going to be trying it out on my friends and in non-competitive events, just for the funsies. But definitely I'm excited. I think it's awesome. Thank you so much for getting it to me before Christmas, Alexander. It's a great way to play around during the holidays. Yeah, that's it for the equipment review. Thank you very much. Have a great day and peace out.